Okay, in previous video we talked about the basic stuff about Splunk setup page, right? We saw the why setup pages are used and the basic structure of the setup pages, right? So in this video we will try to take an example of a setup page, very simplistic example, which we will be using a Splunk out of the box REST APIs to create, to access, or to change a particular file, conf file basically. Okay, now in next videos we will be talking about more advanced stuff about the setup pages. Okay, now to start with, if I just show you the TMDB app, we will be basically creating a setup page as I have shown in my previous video. So if I just show you over here, so this is the setup page we will be creating today. So over there we have total 3 blocks, as I have told in the earlier video. Okay, now I have defined three save searches in my TMDB app. If I just go to apps, TMDB folder, default folder, okay, and if I just open that save searches.conf, so we have three save searches: language search, video beta search, video data search, and the popular movie search. Okay, now over there the schedule is not been enabled. If you see it here, for all of these searches schedules are disabled. Okay, now for the language search we will be enabling the schedule, and for all of these searches we will be changing that cron schedule as well using the setup pages, and also we will be changing the earliest time. Let's say this one. Okay, earliest time we will be changing to something else for all of this search. Now while doing that one, so we will be using the iterative mode to change the cron schedule, and we'll be using the bulk mode to change the earliest dispatch time. Okay, because we are intending to give the same dispatch time for all the searches and different cron schedule for the different searches. Okay, for all of the different searches. Now to start with, what we'll do first is, inside the default folder, TMDB app default folder, we'll be creating a XML file called setup.xml. Okay, so for that what I'll do is I'll just copy any file, because then we will change the name as setup.xml. Okay, so we created a setup.xml file. Now we have to update this one, so I'll just try to open in Notepad and delete it. Okay, so we'll start from fresh, as we have made inputs.com. That's why that thing came up. Okay, so as I said earlier, the base tag, the main tag of the setup page is setup, right? So we created a setup tag over there, right? Now inside the setup tag there are a lot of blocks tag over there, right? So we will first create our first block over here. Okay, so the block. Okay, so each and every block corresponds to each and every stuff over here. Okay, so whatever bold color you are seeing, that's the block title over there, right? So let's say enable schedule for a search. So if I just go back over here, so inside the block, as I explained in my previous video, for block there are a lot of attributes, right? One of the attributes is title over there, right? So title is enable the schedule for a search. Enable the schedule for a search, right? So that's my block title over there. Now this has to, basically this block, okay, we'll come back to this one. Okay, so we created this guy over there, right? Now we have to create this guy over here, specify the configuration for a single settings in its stanza, right? So this is the text tag inside a block. Okay, so if I just go back over here, so inside the block now we will be creating a text. Okay, slash text here. Okay, so So we created a text tag. Now what that text tag will be showing up, it should be showing up something like this one, something like specify the configuration for a single settings in a stanza, right? So specify the configuration for a single setting in a stanza, right? Now if you see it over here, this is in italics, right? So we have to make it italics as well. So in HTML there is a tag, right, called I. So we will be using that particular tag only. Okay, that means, so basically it is something like less than, I, greater than, right? Now as we are mentioning inside the XML, we have to you have to make URL encoding over here. So instead of less than, we will be writing ampersand lt colon. Okay, this is the less than, and for the then I, then for the greater than it will be ampersand gt colon, gt for greater than, right? So the same stuff, I have to close it over here, right? I have to close the I. Now before when we are closing a tag, we have to give a forward slash, right? So that's we are giving it over here. Okay, so we created that text element over there. Now we have to create a checkbox, right, with this particular name basically, right? So for that, as I explained in my previous video, we need to create a input tag, right? So let us do that one. So we will be creating a tag called input over here. Okay, let us close it. So we created a tag called input. Now in the input tag, basically, as I told in my previous video, each and every input tag, it's basically updating a configuration in a conf file, right? That means it's basically associated with a field in a conf file. Now as this checkbox will be updating the schedule, right? So that means if I just go back to my savesearches.conf, okay, it will be basically updating this enable schedule, right? So now in Splunk save searches, when you want to update a save search schedule with REST API, okay, the field name is underscore scheduled. Okay, so that's why I'm giving the field name as field equals to is underscore, okay, within quotes we have to give is underscore scheduled is underscore scheduled. Okay, so that's the field name which we are giving it over here. Now as I said, for each and every input there are two mandatory tags, right? One is label, another is the is a type of the input, right? So let us do that one. So label label. So this is one of the input. So in label, what it goes this particular string, enable schedule for lang search. So let's do that one. Enable schedule for language search. Okay, so slash label. So we have created the label over there, right? Now what is the type of this particular input? It's a checkbox, and as I told in my previous video as well, for checkbox we use the type bool, right? Type. Okay, so we created that particular checkbox with this particular label. Now this guy has to input, this guy basically, okay, let me save it. Now this guy has to update our savesearches.conf file, okay, with this schedule. That means we need to use a Splunk REST endpoint to update that particular save search. Okay, so for that, what we'll do is we will go to Google. Okay, now we will search for Splunk REST API reference. Okay, this is the Splunk documentation for REST API. Now we are planning to update a save search, right? From the left hand side, we'll see the search endpoints. Okay, we'll click on this search endpoint descriptions. So basically I'm trying to tell you a way. If you don't know the endpoint, you can always find it over here, okay, like this one. So save searches, if you see, this is the endpoint over here. So this is the endpoint for access and create save searches. So we will be using this particular endpoint in our setup page as well, okay. So we'll copy this guy over here. We'll go back to our setup.xml page. Now for the block, as I said, this particular block holds a single input, right? So either we can give the endpoint over here, or we can give the endpoint at the input level as well. It doesn't matter, okay, because this block holds a single input only. So this input will be this. If I define the endpoint over here, this input will be inheriting that endpoint from the block itself, okay. So the attribute name is endpoint, okay. So the endpoint is this guy over here, okay. So this is our endpoint name of our block, okay. Now that means we are basically telling update the save searches.conf file. Now which stanza we need to update, that is defined by the entity, right? So entity, when I discussed the same stuff as well in previous video. So in entity we'll be passing language search, because we just wanted to update this single search over here, okay. So we created the first block over there according to our diagram over here, right? Now let us try to code the second block as well in similar way, right? So we'll create a new block now, right? Block, we will close the block first, right? Now in that block, what will be my title over here? Configure cron schedule, right? So I'll just copy this guy, and this is our beginning of the new block, right? So we'll write configure cron schedule, right? So this is our cron schedule configuration. Now over here inside the block we have this text as well we have to create, right? So for that I'll just copy this text, I'll paste it over here. Now the text full text will be in italics, but this portion will be in bold as well, right? So that means first we will specify the cron schedule for each search. So specify the, first we'll write this one, cron schedule for each search, okay, for each search in the conf file, okay. Now we have to include this guy as well, iteration mode, because that is also iteration mode, okay. Now this iteration mode will be in bold. So in HTML the tag is B, right? So we will be creating the similar way we created this I tag over here. We'll be creating this B tag over here in the similar way, okay. So what I'll do is I will copy this guy over here. I will give this one, instead of I'll be giving B over here, and after this one instead of I'll be giving /B over here, okay. So we created that particular text over here. So this text, now we have to create these 3 text boxes, right? So here the mode equals to iteration will be coming up over here. That means we are not going to define these three inputs separately. We're going to define a single input, okay, and we'll be using a mode equals to iterative to render these 3 inputs by Splunk automatically, okay. So to do that one, we'll again create a input, right? Input. Now this particular input will be updating a field, okay, field equals to within double quotes. So now this will be updating this field called cron schedule. This is the same name. So we will just copy this one. So this is our cron schedule. Let us close the input tag over here, okay. So we are updating this cron schedule field over here. Okay, now the label and the type, as I said, both are mandatory. Label, let's close this one, label. Okay, and the type over here, right, slash type. Okay, now as it is a text box, the type will be text over here, right? Now label is important over here because we are going to create this particular inputs using a iterative approach, right? So we are going to define just only once. So for that there is a token we can use called name over here. This name defines the name of this entity over here, like language search, video data search, or popular movie search. This stanza name basically. Okay, so this name will be populated over here as well. Okay, so it's basically will be creating the inputs with this name. Now somewhere we have to mention it is an iterative approach. We'll again go back to this block over here, right? So over there again our endpoint is the same endpoint we are going to use, because we are only updating our save searches.conf file over here, right? Now in entity, this is the separate stuff over here. Instead of giving a separate stanza name, we'll be giving star over here. Okay, a regular expression. Okay, now whenever we are using that one, now in mode equals to, we'll be using iter, iterative. Okay, so this is the two stuff we have to remember over here. Because of these two guys only, we are able to define a single input, but still we are creating 3 inputs over here. Okay, so let us move on. So again we are moving to our third block over here, right? So this time everything will be same. Only thing is that we are going to use a bulk mode over here, right? So what I'll do first is I will copy this block. Okay, so okay, this block I have to close it, so this is not a closing block. Okay, now it is fine. So I'll copy this one, I'll paste this one. The title will be set earliest dispatch time, right? So let us do that one. Set earliest dispatch time. Okay, now endpoint will be same, entity will be star, mode will be bulk now, because this time it will display single entity, but it will update behind the scene all of these save searches, because this mode is bulk over here. Okay, now the text will be bulk mode over here. So I'll just write, instead of iteration, I'll just bulk over here and enable the earliest dispatch time for each search. Enable the earliest dispatch time for each search in the conf file. Okay, now the field will be over here, this guy, dispatch dot earliest time. So we will be using this particular field name over here. Okay, now so as my mode is equals to bulk over here. Okay, so we can give a, if you see, even in our diagram also we have a single static name, right? Set earliest dispatch time for all the searches. Let us give that one, set earliest dispatch time for all the searches. Okay, so type will be text over here because it's a text box. Okay, so we completed our setup over here. Okay, let us see first whether Splunk is able to render this particular setup.xml or not. Okay, so for that we have created setup.xml. We will restart our Splunk once. Okay, we'll go to settings, server control, restart Splunk. Okay, we'll come back after Splunk restart completed. Okay, our Splunk restart completed. Let us log in over there. Okay, to see the setup page, we need to go to apps, manage apps over here. Okay, now in TMDB app, there should be a link enabled called setup. Okay, if I just click that one, okay, it's when something wrong, maybe our tags or something we have missing over here. Let us check it out. We have, okay, BEL label, okay, label. So this has to be the name. I did a spelling mistake, even same as well over here. Okay, so hopefully we have all the labels over here. And input block we have closed, setup we have closed, text also we have closed it over here. Okay, hopefully this is going to work. So what I'll do is we will go back to Splunk home, and we will restart the Splunk once, okay, to be very sure. We'll come back after Splunk restart completed. So let us go to the setup page again. So again, for manage app also you can go to from this gear icon over here. Okay, so TMDB, we'll go to setup page. So now the setup page has been displayed over here by Splunk, and it has been rendered something like this one, okay, as we expected. So if I just do this one, enable schedule for language search. Now let's give 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this 3 Cron schedule, so that all of these separate searches will have separate Cron schedule. Okay, and we will give, let's say, 2 days minus 2 days for the earliest time over here. If I just click on save, okay, so you should be getting a message something like this: successfully updated TMDB. Okay, so now if I just go to TMDB app now, okay, so if I just go to Splunk shortcut, it is C apps TMDB. Okay, now whatever update you do it from the setup page, right? So it will be updated to your local folder over here. Okay, if I just open savesearches.conf file over here, if you see the cron schedule has been updated over here. For language search, the enable schedule also updated over here, and the earliest time also updated over here. Now one thing I have seen it over here is, for some reason this earliest time is not updating for the last search. It is Splunk is finding out. Let me know whether you are getting the similar error or not. Okay, maybe it's something related to the Splunk issue or something which I was not able to figure it out. Maybe let me know how it goes for you. Okay, so hopefully we get a fair idea about how to use Splunk endpoints in our Splunk setup pages, right? By endpoints means like Splunk defined endpoints, out of the box endpoint I'm talking about. In future videos we will see how to create our own endpoint and use it in setup pages in Splunk. Okay, so hopefully this video is helpful. See you in next video.